Chapter 1331 There will be a day when you'll beg me. Lin Che was getting more vicious with her words. It meant that for the Gu family to even come and meddle with their kindergarten, they were really demeaning themselves. The young master did not have much experience in such matters. For a moment, he stood there red-faced and stared at Lin Che for a good half a day before thinking of something to retaliate. We can't miss out on even a cent of anything that belongs to the Gu family. We will not let anyone take advantage of us. That is our principle. Lin Che scoffed. Now, that's funny. This is my doing, my investment. What has it got to do with the Gu family? Did she do this? How could he believe it? Whatever money you have must be of Gu Jingze's funding. No matter how much, it is still our money. You must return what's rightfully ours. Lin Che looked at him. You're using strong words. Why can't I have my own money? Of course. The land here alone is worth tens of millions. It's definitely something you can't afford. Quick, stop wasting time with your rubbish. In any case, we want this place for sure. As he said those words, he looked back to see the curious parents adding fuel to the fire. What are you guys looking at? This kindergarten is illegal. It belongs to us. This bitch stole our money and opened this kindergarten. You guys actually send your kids here to learn to become thieves. A few parents' faces turned into shock when they heard his words. They did not know what to say for a moment. They were shocked as well as in disbelief. How can this be? This is a wonderful kindergarten. How can it be based on stolen money? I hope there won't be any problems in the future. Lin Che's face darkened. They dared to spout nonsense to the parents. That's enough. Get out of here immediately. If not, don't blame me for the consequences. Lin Che walked over and straightened herself up. She looked at the people and said, coming over to bully me, a fragile woman, and her kindergarten is one thing. Why do you still have to come and hinder our regular developments so unreasonably? We just want to simply carry out our lives. What about being a woman? Can't a woman have enough money to build a school? Do you look down on women? The parents who had come were mothers. It was mostly the mothers who kept relations with the kindergarten, and so when the women heard Lin Che's words, they became riled up. Precisely. Women can have money too. Why must a woman's money be from only crooked ways? I don't think there will be problems here. I believe in Lin Che. She has been managing the school well. It must be you who brought these people to disrupt us. The kindergarten has been doing fine all along. The kids are safe here and sensible. They learn a lot. This is such a good school and you guys want to create a scene. You must have an ulterior motive. We must not listen to these people's nonsense. Look at our own kids and you'll know. Kids won't lie, and the kids are learning well here. They are fluent in both English and our language. We don't even need to hire a tutor anymore. They are also exceptionally sensible. How can the school be bad? Once a parent mentioned this, everyone started to think about it and rallied together. The young master from the Gu family looked and did not expect that he would dig his own grave. Lin Che really had her weapons drawn. She had penetrated into the hearts of the women. The young master stood there, not knowing how to stir up trouble anymore. Lin Che, no matter what you do, this still belongs to the Gu family. Don't force me to do it the hard way. He waved his hand and his men followed behind. At the wedding ceremony previously, the men had seen their family's security. Given the skills of the Gu Jingze's guards, they knew that it was of no use to attack directly, but there were only so few of them. So this time, they had brought more people with them. However, just as they were about to attack, they had not expected to see a group of people gaining control. They seemed of military grade and had surrounded them off guard. These people did not look like they were from C Nation. Lin Che turned back and saw that Sed had caught up. He looked at her and said, "Has Gu Jingze already allowed you to get bullied like this?" Lin Che frowned. What did he want this time? Lin Che said, "A small matter like this doesn't require Gu Jingze to do anything. There's not a need, but it doesn't mean he can treat it like it's invisible." Without waiting for Lin Che to respond, Sed already raised his hand and said to her with a smile, "Let me show you what it means to be the strongest man." Saeed's eyes turned cold and looked at the people ahead. Slowly, disdain appeared on his face. The Gu family is nothing to him now. Some people did not have the time to react upon seeing this fight. Sed waved his hand and asked, "Who dares to be violent in front of a royal? Who dares to be violent to a diplomat?" The people looked closer and realized that they were of Dian's royals. Said, "The great prince." He was visiting in C Nation, but why was he here? Seeing him stand beside Lin Che only brought more surprise. How did the successor to the throne know Lin Che? Lin Che, this woman. Nobody could think of any reason. If you said it was because of Gu Jingze, it was impossible he would handle this small kindergarten matter. It looked like he came with Lin Che, and judging by how he was smiling and looking at Lin Che, it led one to think he was not ordinary. Some of the men were at a loss of what to do. Lin Che did not want the slightest of help from said. She walked 2 steps ahead and said, "All right, I'll let you off for now. Get lost and don't ever come close to my kindergarten. If not, don't blame me for being harsh." Some of the men did not want to leave, but looking at said, and thinking about his entire royal clan, they thought they were sure to be on the losing end and had better leave. Seeing them go, said smiled and looked at Lin Che. If people bullied you in my country, they would probably be seeing their gods by now. Lin Che replied, "We're not as overbearing as you. They might be annoying, but doesn't mean that they deserve death. Haha, when you're with me, you'll be my consort. It's death for anyone who lays a finger on a royal member. Only then will you get a taste of being on a higher level." "Sorry, I'm not interested." Lin Che turned around to leave. Said replied, "Lin Che, the more you reject me, the more I find you intriguing. One day, you'll come to me on your own and beg me to want you." Said looked at Lin Che, narrowed his eyes, and laughed heartily. Chapter 1332. He never had this before. Said waved his hand to get his man to return. Saeed's man was not like any other. His man wore a hat and was dressed uniformly. He stood very conspicuously. The mothers who stood at the side saw these neatly pressed suits said, "Oh, look at that man. He looks like someone I've seen on the TV. Who is it? He looks quite formidable." "I've already said it, our kindergarten has strong foundations. I heard many have tried to enroll in but were unsuccessful. They wouldn't take in any more, no matter whose kid it was, even if they were rich. I don't give a hoot about others getting in or not. In any case, our kids are learning well here." The mother lifted her head in pride when she thought of what was said about not being able to enter even if someone was rich. It made her feel proud. Looks like this really is a good environment. These people are not ordinary people. They're so cool and possess a strong aura. Thinking about her own kid being in the same school as of these powerful people and even interacting with them made her feel very satisfied. She had greater anticipation for the kindergarten. Everyone watched as the problem was solved at the kindergarten. They had more confidence in this kindergarten and also a bigger sense of pride. When the guys from the Gu family returned home, they talked about how Said stood by Lin Che's side and could not deny that Lin Che was not a simple woman. It made sense as well. If she was a simple woman, Gu Jingze would not be smitten with her. For someone to be so pampered by Gu Jingze, that person must have their own ways. Shui Mengqi held her hands and thought to herself. This was only the first move. Since you want it this way, then we'll continue from here. Said was getting ready to head back to his country. Upon arriving, his whole entourage swaggered with flamboyance. Upon leaving, it was no less. Several airplanes were booked for their departure. Half of the airport was even stopped for flights simply because they had used their money to buy up the air tickets so that the airport could be half empty. When this news got onto the internet, everyone could not help but sigh. These people really knew how to burn their money. Before he left, Said did not see Gu Jingze and was a little disappointed. Hammond looked at Said. "Hey, stop looking. The person you want to see won't be coming." Said scoffed. "Do you know who I wish to see?" "Whoever it is, they won't come," Hammond said coldly. Said squinted his eyes. "You dare call me by name, fine. However, you won't be able to do so for long." As he said his piece, Said brushed past Hammond's shoulder roughly and walked out. Gu Industries. Gu Jingze gave a call to Lin Che. "I'll be back later tonight." Lin Che replied, "All right, it must be tough on you these days." "Yes. Why, is your heart aching for me?" "So what if it is? If your heart aches, then treat me well at night. Don't always let me work so hard in the day and then at night again." Lin Che thought to herself. Who asked you to like tossing around at night? Moreover, it was always for more than an hour before you stopped. Upon hanging up the phone, Lin Che felt that Gu Jingze was really busy recently. He would return home in the wee hours very tired and still wakes up punctually at 6 in the morning. His food was definitely of good quality, but he may not have it in time. This workaholic would forget about everything, sometimes even food when he starts to work. As a dominant person, the people around him do not dare to remind him even though they care about his well-being. How could they just give in to his temperament? Lin Che gave it a thought and had a sudden thought of making something for him to eat. She had thought of surprising him previously. However, she had already presented herself as a surprise for him. She had better put away the idea of cooking some food for him at the moment. If not, she was worried it would be a shock instead of a surprise. But now, if it was not to be a surprise, she could just get him something to eat. She could give it a try. As she thought about it, she found herself in the kitchen. Begging for the chef's guidance, she began cooking up something for him to eat. With the chef's guidance, the dish was ready very quickly. It looked good, but the taste. She did not dare to try. The chef did not seem daunted. He picked up his chopsticks and bravely went for a taste. The important thing was he felt that under his guidance, nothing could go wrong. Thus, he picked up his chopsticks to have a try. Lin Che looked at the chef silently. She anxiously asked him, "Is it bad?" Not exactly. The chef had wanted to cry internally. Why did it turn out like that when he had been watching her do it? Some people naturally really had no place in the kitchen. But the chef did not dare to say as such. He only smiled and replied, "Madam, your dish has a special taste that's exclusively yours." Lin Che truly felt like a failure. The chef saw that Madam did not look good and added on, "It's not that it's not good. It's edible, just that, the taste is different from expectations." Lin Che's eyes brightened. "Really? Let me try." She quickly took a little to taste and realized. It was edible, but the taste was strange. She swallowed and felt that if she gave this to Gu Jingze to eat, it would be as though an attempt to murder her husband. On the other hand, the caretaker knew how to pick his words. Seeing Lin Che in that state, he smiled and said, "Sir is not picky with food. He has eaten all the good food there is but has never eaten Madam's love bento. Yours is something he hasn't had, and so, it's more precious, isn't it? Go give it to Sir to try." True, she was quite a failure as a wife, to be honest. She did not know anything. He was the husband and he has never eaten a dinner prepared by the wife. She thought she should doll up and get ready to bring it over to him. No matter what, it was specially made by her, for him. She had been waiting for half a day after arriving at the Gu clan. Gu Jingze was said to still be in a meeting. Chin Hao came out and saw Lin Che sitting and holding on to something. He was frightened and left in a hurry. To think nobody had gone in to inform Sir. If Gu Jingze knew they had the audacity to let Lin Che wait outside, he would be skinned alive. Unsurprisingly, Gu Jingze heard that Lin Che had arrived. He immediately ended the meeting and walked out. He lit up the moment he saw Lin Che. He held onto her shoulders and asked, "What brings you here? Let's talk inside." Ever since Gu Jingze and Lin Che had separated from the Gu family, the entire clan had been spreading the word that Gu Jingze had given up his mountain for a beauty. This beauty was not anyone else but Gu Jingze's own wife. Thus, the entire company had profound respect for Mrs. Gu. They felt that she was like a legendary character. Even though she did not go to the company, everyone knew who she was. Chapter 1333 Spending Quality Time with You. In the office, Lin Che gleefully said to him, "Take a guess. What do you think I brought?" Gu Jingze turned to stand behind his desk and looked across it. Lin Che leaned over the office table until her face was close to his. Her mysterious ways were adorable even though she was already a mother of two, had her own studio and company, and was no longer the silly young lady. In the eyes of others, she was a successful person, but she was still a child at heart. Seeing how close she was to his face, he gave her a peck on the lips. "You being here is already a surprise. There's not a need to bring anything." Lin Che's heart skipped a beat. She felt it pounding. "Annoying. Stop teasing me." She pursed her lips and said, "But I already brought it here." "What?" he asked. She got serious and commanded, "Only praises, not one bit of disdain." "Oh, this comes with an order as well." No, it's a must. No disdain." All right, no disdain and it must be praised." He was amused by her demeanor. There was still an order to give compliments, eh? But it was not easy to earn his praise. However, if it was her, getting forced for a bit was just as well. In this world, only she could give such a command to him. In an instant, a small little bento box was placed in front of him. He was surprised for a moment and looked at her without saying a word. His face showed worry. Must I compliment it? Lin Che pouted. What kind of face is that? So reluctant. If it was other things, perhaps he could still believe that she could do it well. But it was cooking. He predicted it would not be easy to give compliments. He said, it's not impossible. If it's a lie, it's just gibberish. You. Lin Che was maddened by him and stretched her arm out towards him. Seeing him laugh, she punched his chest. You get lost. It's not that scary. It must be nice since the chef watched me do it. Alright. Why are you so worked up? I believe you. She scoffed and looked at him threateningly. Her eyes seemed to warn that if he were to show any signs of disdain, he would have to watch out. The bento box was opened slowly. Upon seeing the insides, Gu Jingze said immediately, the presentation is not bad. Lin Che nodded. That is true. Did you really make this? Oh, you dare to doubt me? Lin Che shot him a look. No. Gu Jingze laughed awkwardly. Seeing Lin Che bringing the chopsticks over, he hurriedly said, alright, won't it be easy once I start eating? Lin Che stared at him. He lifted his head. How am I supposed to eat when you're staring at me like this? Lin Che shot him a second look. Why aren't you eating? Hurry up and eat for me. Gu Jingze laughed at the sight of her resembling a tiger. Okay, I will eat. With a mouthful, he felt that it did not taste as bad as he thought it would be. At least, it was better than her previous attempts. It was much better this time and definitely edible. It seemed like it would not poison someone to death. He ate in mouthfuls as Lin Che watched from the side. It was only when he finished everything that she clapped her hands in glee. Seeing her being finally satisfied, Gu Jingze asked, can I put the chopsticks down now? Oh, you can start complimenting. Lin Che put her hands on her waist and replied. Gu Jingze looked like he was in agony. Lin Che immediately shot him a look for the third time. Gu Jingze said, okay. My wife is really beautiful and generous, kind and adorable, and does everything well. He leaned over the table and pulled her over. Hey, what are you doing? Lin Che struggled to get away as she fell into his embrace when she got pulled over. He hugged her and said, my compliments can't be compared to how much I love you. He bit her neck. Hey, you're biting the hand that fed you. No, I'm just not feeling full yet. It was nice food but not as nice as eating you. As he hugged and kissed her, Lin Che's body trembled as her neck got tickled. She kept saying, let go. Gu Jingze, you're tickling me to death. Gu Jingze let go of her and looked at her face. Thank you. He became serious in an instant and she was at a loss of what to do. Gu Jingze tugged onto her. You're treating me well. Lin Che lowered her head in embarrassment. Is this well? Of course. But I've never made a meal for you before. You don't have to. It's the thoughts that count. However, other wives always cook up meals for them. How about I cook proper meals for you in future? No, I don't want to tire you out. He kissed her hand. Your hands are nice to look at, so I don't want you to be slogging it out in the kitchen every day. Lin Che's heart became weak again. However, she frowned at him and threatened, you sure it's not because the food is too terrible and you don't want to have it anymore? Gu Jingze chuckled. You've become smart now. Lin Che was stunned for a moment and she only reacted later. What he had meant was that she had cleverly guessed correctly. That meant that what she said was right. Lin Che put on her fiercest look. Gu Jingze. Alright, I'll stop teasing you. It wasn't bad. I liked it. Actually, it did not matter what he ate. He was full if she could come and he could see her. It was more fulfilling if he had the chance to eat what she prepared. He said, but, I meant what I said. I don't want you to tire out. You don't have to worry about me. I can take care of myself. I know my limits. I don't think you do. Lin Che looked at him and sighed. Look at you, you haven't had lunch right. Lin Che continued, you're already more forgetful than I am and men have a shorter lifespan than women. If you don't start cherishing yourself then in the future, do you wish to leave me all alone in this world? Thinking about this, Lin Che was suddenly horrified. She could not imagine a life without him. What meaning was there if she had to live life by herself? Gu Jingze was silent. He looked at Lin Che and slowly went closer. He caressed her hands and his chin touched her forehead. Any other warnings would not work, but this very sentence was etched deeply in his heart. All right, I promise you. I'll have proper meals. She smiled gently. The two of them stayed in the office for quite some time before Lin Che left. Gu Jingze said, but there are indeed improvements in your cooking. You see, I'm still alive. I didn't get poisoned to death. Which means it's still alright. Get lost. She must have married a fake husband. Chapter 1334 actually sabotaged the kids. Gu Jingze's front chest choked because of her, but he did not cry in pain. Instead, he started laughing out loud. The couple fiddled around like newlyweds. They were on such good terms that it made one envious. And on the other side, the issue at the kindergarten was not over yet. Something suddenly cropped up at the kindergarten one afternoon. Some children suddenly had some abnormal reactions. The teacher immediately discovered that they were puking and looking pale. Meanwhile, Gu Jingze was not one of them. Because his belongings were always specially checked first, so practically nothing could happen to him. Just when the children were playing outside, a few of them suddenly puked. Gu Jingze immediately saw some people at the sidewalk outside. Li Wei asked quizzically, "What's happening?" Gu Jingze narrowed his eyes. A few of them puked at the same time. It seems like it. Perhaps they ate something bad. They probably wouldn't be puking at the same time even if so. Gu Jingze stood up and walked over. The teacher saw Gu Jingze approach and quickly said, "Stay back. Something has happened here." "I know. What's going on?" The teacher looked at Gu Jingze, and then at the few others with him. It could not be helped. Gu Jingze was no ordinary kid. The teacher said, "Some of the kids have been puking non-stop." Gu Jingze asked, "How long has it been?" "It just happened." Gu Jingze then waved to the security guards outside. The security guards saw their little young master calling for them and immediately went over. Gu Jingze instructed calmly, "Seal up the kindergarten immediately, especially the kitchen. Nobody is allowed in or out. Keep track of everything and report to me immediately if you find anything suspicious." The teacher watched in stunned silence. Seeing the situation, the well-experienced security guards carried out their duties without a split second of hesitation or doubt. The teacher also immediately reacted. Gu Jingze meant that there might have been a problem in the kitchen. If they sealed up the place immediately, kept everything intact, and prevented anyone from destroying possible evidence, it would be more helpful for investigations later. There were records of purchases and exports in the kitchen. No matter where the goods came from, who they were from, or how the food was sent to the canteen of each class, there would be records. Furthermore, there was the all-important surveillance footage. If someone sabotaged it, investigations would be further complicated. The teacher looked at this child in surprise. In seconds, this child already made decisions and quickly carried them out. This was really a true child genius. How did he turn out so smart? No wonder the security guards listened to his words and never treated him as a child. Just then, Gu Jingze turned around and broke the teacher's stunned silence. He ordered, "Inform my father and mother. They will send a better doctor. Don't let just any doctor outside interact with these kids." Yes, even the teacher was amazed at how she seemed to have become a subordinate heeding orders. However, this child simply had this kind of aura, and that look on his face just now especially made people submit to him subconsciously. On Lin Che's side, she immediately received the news from her security guards. Lin Che froze, stood up, and gritted her teeth. This Shui Mengqi was going overboard. She actually sabotaged these kids. Everyone in the Gu family knew that Shui Mengqi was capable, but the family members also knew that Shui Mengqi was ruthless and cold-hearted. She never cared about the how. She only cared about the result. Lin Che immediately sent a doctor over. However, they could not stop the media from reporting immediately. What a coincidence. This just happened an hour ago and it was already in the news. How were they so fast? Since when was C Nation's media so on time? Or could it be that someone had long prepared to let the news report it quickly? On the news, the newscaster said, "Just now, there has been a suspected food poisoning case in Xinmeng International Kindergarten. There are already a few students admitted to a hospital for continuous vomiting. Investigations are ongoing." This kindergarten was previously known for occupying a large space, with expensive school fees and an impressive lineup of teachers. However, the background of this school remains unknown. Originally only known to a small circle, this impressive kindergarten was suddenly put under the spotlight by the media, subjected to the discovery by the masses of normal people. The kindergarten, which had been photographed aerially before, was big and beautiful like a small park. The building was also luxurious and looked like a little castle. Many people found out that the teachers and resources here were shockingly impressive. It did not seem like a kindergarten at all. Not even some elite schools could compare. Meanwhile, this was indeed a kindergarten for 2 to 6-year-old children. The public could not help but be amazed. What kind of children attended classes here? This school did not look like ordinary people could enter. They were probably children of local wealthy families and power people. Lin Che immediately called their house doctor to rush over. She knew what Gu Jingze meant. A doctor from the outside could be working for Shui Mengqi. If another sabotage occurred, it might be too late to salvage their reputation. Lin Che also rushed down to the kindergarten. After checking on the children, the doctor confirmed that it was indeed food poisoning. Madam, we found nitrite in the children's stomachs. It looks like a substance that can be found in normal cases of food poisoning, but the amount we found was rather large. It could be that excessive nitrite was added to the food. Someone could have added it. Lin Che asked. It's highly likely, the doctor said. Lin Che rubbed her chin as she stood there and watched. Beside her, Gu Jingze asked, what should we do now, Mom? Lin Che said, the media has already reported the news. They are intentionally preventing us from dealing with it privately. We can only fight back. Can't we suppress the media? If we do that now, it will only cause more speculations online. We will make a public apology, Lin Che replied. Gu Jingze said, this person is too evil to actually lay hands on such young kids. Lin Che nodded, it looks like if we don't get rid of her properly, we will not live in peace. But needless to say, this Shui Mengqi was really skillful to make a move on their kindergarten several times. She found a weakness and focused on attacking it. Lin Che thought about how they could retaliate. But outside, the parents were already hounding after them. No, why are you holding us back? We want to see the principal. Our kids were fine. How did they get food poisoning? Why didn't you send them to the hospital for proper treatment? What's the meaning of treating them here? Are you going to take responsibility if something happens to them? Chapter 1335 Let's settle scores with the Gu family. Lin Che immediately walked out. Dear parents, I can understand your worries. What do you mean, you can understand? The children aren't yours, so of course, you won't be worried, an anxious mother suddenly interrupted her. Exactly. You're just a celebrity who opened a kindergarten. Do you think you know everything? You've never even given birth, so how would you know? The fact that Lin Che had children had not been exposed to the public. So, of course, everyone did not know that Lin Che's own son was also here. Furthermore, he was living in danger every day. Lin Che said, trust me. I truly am able to understand how all you mothers feel. Even if you feel that I can't understand, I definitely won't let anything happen to any of your children for the sake of the kindergarten's reputation. I will definitely do whatever I can as well so that my own conscience can rest easy. Humph, how can we believe you? Let our children go to the hospital. Quick, I don't want these idiot doctors of yours in the school to give medical treatment. Our child must go to a major hospital and get treatment from a specialist doctor. Yes, you must take complete responsibility for it. Lin Che asked, a major hospital? What if I promise you that the place I'm taking you to is much better than any major hospital? Ha, we don't believe it. Don't try to hoodwink us and bring us to some place with strange medical treatments. Absolutely not. Lin Che immediately said, let's not waste any more time. The most important thing is for us to give the children the best medical treatment, isn't it? Lin Che waved her hand and said to her men, contact Dr. Chen. We'll bring the children over right now. Yes. Naturally, the parents were going to tag along. When they arrived, they realized that they had come straight to a research facility. They did not understand the advanced and sophisticated equipment inside, but the interior looked just like a high-technology concentration camp. There were very few people but a particularly large number of nurses and doctors. Hey, there are so many doctors but so few people. What rotten hospital did you bring us to? One of the mothers who did not understand shouted and asked from the back. Everyone was used to the medical environment in C Nation. Because there were too many people, there were insufficient hospitals. This caused the hospitals to be packed with people. The better the hospital, the more overcrowded it was. But there was not a single person here. This mother wondered if this place was any good. If it was a good place, it would probably have been bursting at the seams with people. But this was not the case. Lin Che did not say anything else and brought them straight in. At the back, one of the parents who understood the situation said, "This place. Oh, I know this place. This isn't a hospital, it's a research facility. The doctors here are all researchers at the doctorate level. They're particularly impressive." The person speaking was a father carrying his child. He immediately hugged his child closer and asked, "Are we going to get treatment here?" "Yes." Behind him, a mother quickly asked, "What doctorate?" "This place has the best technology. Don't talk nonsense if you don't know. So many people out there can't even enter this place for treatment no matter how much money they have. Treat our child first." When the people at the back heard that this place was that good, they hastily said one after another, "Treat my child first. Check why he's so weak." In reality, although they had suffered food poisoning, a doctor had already examined them. They were fine now. But the parents definitely would not agree to end there, so Lin Che brought them here for treatment. After settling the parents down inside, Lin Che heaved a sigh of relief. She stood there wondering how to best deal with this matter. When she returned to the kindergarten, everyone was still contemplating what to do. Lin Che encouraged all of them briefly. Thereafter, she herself was so tired that she went back to rest up first. But she did not expect the kindergarten to be in the headlines the very next day. They called it the top kindergarten in C Nation. There was a special report about it showing everyone how huge the facilities in the kindergarten were, how many teachers there were, and what qualifications each teacher had. What the hell? This specially hired teacher is a pianist in France. I can't believe they even have a swimming pool there. They even managed to dig out the invoice for the school fees. The fees stated there aren't as expensive as expected. Only $130,000 a year. What the hell? What do you mean, not as expensive as expected? Over $100,000 to study at a kindergarten. To the commenter above, for such a level of education, $130,000 is really cheap. Do you know how much a piano course taught by that French pianist costs? One lesson, keep in mind, one lesson, costs $100,000. My God, that's robbery. At the same time, Li Mingyu immediately came looking for her. What happened, Lin Che? I just went out to play for 2 days and something happened to our kindergarten. What did he mean, their kindergarten? Although Li Mingyu had pestered her, again and again, to let him join, and was considered one of the shareholders, no one wanted to lump together with him. Something happened, but the most important thing now is that everyone is digging up our kindergarten's background. This Shui Mengqi is too much. She gave us such a huge advertisement for free and for no reason. Lin Che's head hurt at the thought of it. Especially when she saw the netizens speculating so boldly. They were even wondering if this place was related to the president. Indeed, at its root, it was related to the president. Mr. President's child studied here. Of course, it was related. But the media outlets still didn't dare to release this news. It concerned the safety of Mr. President's daughter. They were worried about causing some kind of danger if they released the information. If that happened, the president was definitely going to be angry. Li Mingyu said, "Seriously? Is the Gu family mad? How dare they destroy my territory for no reason? Hey, what do you mean, your territory? My money is here too. That's enough. You can be angry, but you must promise not to cause trouble." Lin Che did not want him to blow the matter up even more. If everyone found out about it, it would not be good for the children. Their original intention in establishing this kindergarten had been for the sake of the children's safety. Now that Shui Mengqi had already leaked some information, she was already very troubled. Li Mingyu said, "Don't worry. How can you call that causing trouble? I'm just going to ask the Gu family first, what they mean when they say they have a stake in this place. You and I opened this kindergarten together. What does it have to do with them? Why was he saying that she had opened this together with him? There were clearly many people who collaborated." Just then, Black Eagle also strode in. "Count me in. I have a stake here too. How can they say it belongs to their family? Does he mean that my assets belong to their family too? Hey, you guys. Without waiting for Lin Che to formulate her sentence, Li Mingyu slung his arm over Black Eagle's shoulder. Exactly. Let's go there and ask them what exactly they mean by this. The two troublemakers immediately gathered together. Lin Che felt her headache worsen at the sight of them with their arms around each other's shoulders. One was enough for her to deal with. But this matter had suddenly implicated the two of them. They would not actually go looking for the Gu family, right? But when it came to the two of them, it was true that nothing was impossible. After going out, they headed straight to seek the Gu family out. The two Buddhas did not say a word either and waited at the Gu family headquarters, causing the entire Gu family to become anxious immediately. Chapter 1336. The two of them were pretty much joined at the shoulder. Miss Shui, look, quick. They're in the living room. There's nothing we can do now. Shui Mengqi frowned. When had these two people gathered together? Had they not had a disagreement before and caused their collaboration to fall through? But that had been many years ago. Thereafter, they had not been in touch for many years. Now that they were suddenly standing together again, it was a little astonishing. The two of them sat there, making the entire living room seem very stifling. When the maids went over to pour some tea, Black Eagle looked up. Who exactly is in charge of this matter? Get that person here. Everyone else, don't hang around where I can see you. You hear me? Hearing this, the maids were so frightened that all of them trembled. Our Miss Shui is busy. The maid felt as if he had immediately seen through her lie. The moment she saw Black Eagle look up, she felt that death was imminent. Sensing the situation, Li Mingyu said from beside him, Hey, Black Eagle, don't frighten them. Look, she's a maid, she's not Shui Mengqi. Why are you looking at her like that? This was the look in your eyes the last time you skinned someone alive. It scared me to death. You're not going to skin anyone alive today, right? The maid was really going to pee herself from fright. Black Eagle glared at him. Why do you have so much nonsense to say? Oh no, don't look at me. The moment you look at me, I feel as if I'm about to die from fright. Li Mingyu pretended to be afraid. The maid hastily said, I'll go and inform Miss Shui. Inform Miss Shui. The maid left trembling. Shui Mengqi walked over and smiled. I'm honored that the two of you are here. Your presence really brings light to my humble dwelling, but I don't know why the two of you are paying me a visit. Black Eagle immediately looked up. Don't pretend you don't know. Were you the one who caused all that trouble concerning the kindergarten? My daughter has lessons there. If anything happens to her, I'm telling you. I haven't skinned anyone alive before, but I don't mind giving it a shot. Shui Mengqi's body shivered at his comment. However, she regained her senses immediately. He was only saying this. He would not actually skin her alive. What kindergarten? Don't be rash, Mr. Mo. These are baseless rumors. Don't speak or act on hearsay. I know that Lin Che is your younger sister. You'll definitely stand on her side. But you haven't acknowledged each other for long. It's not that I'm saying unpleasant things. It's best that you don't accidentally let yourself be used by others. This is an internal dispute in the Gu family. You can call it an internal struggle. She dragged you in to be the bird that sticks its head out. It truly evokes deep reflection. The corners of Black Eagle's mouth turned up. There was a cold sneer in his pitch-black eyes. Are you trying to drive a rift between us? As expected of Shui Mengqi. She was so good with her words. Every sentence was a trap. She was even trying to wash herself of this matter. She appeared to have mentioned it casually but had pointed the sharp blade directly at Lin Che. However, it seemed that Black Eagle had seen through her long ago. It would be a bit difficult for her to drive a rift between him and Lin Che. Because she did not understand them at all. That's impossible. How can I drive a wedge between you? You two are siblings. There's no way I would sow dissension between you two. Black Eagle said, besides, why are you calling this an internal struggle in the Gu family? Get this straight. I'm a shareholder of the kindergarten. That kindergarten is run by Lin Che and me. It has nothing to do with the Gu family at all. Now, you've gone to my kindergarten to cause poisoning and you even want us to hand the kindergarten over to the Gu family. Do you think I can stay on the sidelines? What? He had shares in the kindergarten. Sensing the situation, Li Mingyu hastily added, that's right. You're underestimating us way too much. I invested a lot of money in there too. When did it become the Gu family's? Shui Mengqi went silent again. They had also investigated this kindergarten's background. But they had not found out about this. She had thought that since Lin Che was running the kindergarten, the money must have come from Gu Jingze. He was so rich and would be able to come up with the money no matter what. Thus, she did not continue investigating further. But she could not believe that the two people in front of her were now telling her that the kindergarten belonged to them. What was she to do now? Shui Mengqi's eyes darted around swiftly. We just want Lin Che to account for the kindergarten's funds. We didn't say that it belonged to us. Oh, we established it jointly. Why do we have to answer to you? Li Mingyu asked. Shui Mengqi paused. Well, it's a kindergarten that I, Black Eagle, invested money to establish. Why do I have to account for the capital? I'm not. Then, what do you mean? I don't care what you have to say now. I want you to give me an explanation. Shui Mengqi was completely speechless. Because the two of them would not let her speak anyway. In the end, Shui Mengqi nevertheless apologized and saw the two of them out. Black Eagle and Li Mingyu scoffed and walked out. Behind them, Shui Mengqi silently endured it and bit her lip. It was only after sending the two of them off, that she turned around and slapped her younger brother behind her. Oh no, older sister, why did you hit me? Shui Mengqi turned around, her face ashen. Violent rage was written all over her face after having silently endured. Why do you think I hit you? Humph, you still have the cheek to say that. Why didn't you thoroughly investigate the source of the capital? The kindergarten was set up by them. I can't believe you didn't know. You caused us to provoke these two people. We nearly couldn't get ourselves out of this. Humph, go and shut yourself away and ponder over your mistakes. He even caused her to be humiliated for no reason. She had had to make amends and apologize earlier. She had even given them many benefits before sending the two of them away. These two people were both hoodlums. They were definitely not easy to get rid of. They had left satisfied only after being given a bargain price for 2 pieces of land. She had even promised them to apologize and to refrain from doing anything else to the kindergarten in the future. She genuinely wanted to just tear down the kindergarten. But this tiny kindergarten actually had so many people behind it. Of course, she now knew that she could not touch it. The maids outside also properly escorted the two of them out. Li Mingyu only said after going out, this Shui Mengqi is quite impressive too. She has been holding the Gu family up until now. Black Eagle said, I think she's nothing to fear. We'll be able to get rid of her sooner or later anyway. Only then did he remember that he had not been in contact with Li Mingyu for many years. Because after their initial collaboration, and because of their mutual betrayal, their relationship had basically broken down. Earlier, Li Mingyu had actually acted as if they were very familiar with each other. It was as if he had forgotten how the two of them had nearly killed each other back then. Humph, I'll go back first. Black Eagle schooled his face into a neutral expression. Tisk, I'm going back too, but you don't have to look at me like that too. Those incidents happened so many years ago. You're Lin Che's brother. I'm on such good terms with Lin Che. I definitely won't treat you poorly. Black Eagle rolled his eyes at him, as if he wanted to be friends with him. However, since he was in fact on Lin Che's side, Black Eagle would not continue to hold grudges against him. Li Mingyu genuinely felt that he could resolve his differences with many people for Lin Che's sake. Furthermore, this person was Lin Che's older brother. He had no choice. It was all because Lin Che was just so charismatic. He simply wanted to stick close to Lin Che. Chapter 1337 Let's hide from the rain together. Shui Mengqi returned to her room and looked at the person in front of her furiously. Everyone was still feeling glad that Black Eagle and Li Mingyu had finally left. Mengqi, in the future, you should ask clearly before taking action. Look, things may turn out like they did today. You may suddenly provoke someone whom you shouldn't offend. Shui Mengqi listened to the clan relatives in front of her nag. Then, she looked up. Grandfather Fan, is there anyone whom the Gu family shouldn't offend? I'm not saying there are people we shouldn't offend. What I mean is to look at those two people. If you go head to head with them, you would literally be injuring 1,000 members of your enemy and 800 of your own. They're usually capable of anything. There's no reason to fight with them. Exactly, exactly. Someone else also added, let's just forget about this kindergarten. It's just a tiny kindergarten. I didn't think that this Lin Che even had such tricks up her sleeve. Precisely. Ordinary people definitely wouldn't think of this. Just think about it. By seizing these children and slowly nurturing them, all of them will be her people in the future. On top of that, because of the children, those adults will also be on good terms with her. Am I right? That's right, that's right. That's how social connections are made. No wonder Lin Che can keep a firm hold on Gu Jingze. She simply has so many tricks up her sleeve. Even Li Mingyu can be on such good terms with her. Back then, they were enemies too. But now, they've even become friends. You can clearly see that this is the case. Hearing them speak in favor of Lin Che, the anger in Shui Mengqi's heart was about to set her rationality on fire. If they continued letting things develop this way, were they going to regret the division of the family? No way. Shui Mengqi thought that she definitely had to do something. Actually, we don't have to innovate. No matter what it is, if they can do it, we can also do it. Shui Mengqi smiled. Even she can do it with that little bit of power she has. Of course, we can do it. Why don't we just do this in the future? Whatever she does, we'll do. Then we'll be fine. That would lower our status so much. The clan relatives below still wanted to preserve their pride. Shui Mengqi smiled. This is the easiest way and the best way to minimize mistakes. We can even make it so that she won't be able to do anything about it. We'll snatch her rice bowl and she will only be able to worry helplessly. Everyone thought she was right too. Shui Mengqi smiled and said, Lin Che is nothing. Given the Gu family's power, we can do anything. On the other side, after handling matters at the kindergarten, Lin Che felt incredibly tired. She also felt slightly comforted at seeing that the kindergarten had regained a lot of its liveliness. Several parents were still curious. They did not know what exactly had happened. The teachers also took great pains to console these parents. Lin Che felt a little tired, so she dismissed them first. Dongzi, no need to follow me. I'll walk around on my own. Dongzi said, Miss, will you be in danger? Don't worry, I brought a disguise. No one will see me. There were always so many people following her around. She occasionally wanted to relax for a bit. Dongzi had no choice but to nod his head. Lin Che wore a cap and put on a mask as she walked on the streets. She looked at the side. The children were currently being dismissed from school. Some parents were waiting there while chatting and waiting to pick up their children. The weather changed slightly all of a sudden. It seemed as if it was about to rain. There were rumbling sounds of thunder. Lin Che looked on. She pressed her cap down and continued to walk. If she had not met Gu Jingze, perhaps she would have been forced to death by the Lin family. She would have found an ordinary person and married him just like that, to live a peaceful life. In reality, a peaceful life like that was very good too. But without Gu Jingze. But when she thought of waking up to another man besides her, having meals with another man across her, she felt that she would be unable to bear a life like that. Thus, it was better not to think about it. She had chosen the present. She had chosen Gu Jingze. Since this was the case, she could tolerate all fatigue. Just then, she saw a man beside her nagging at his wife. Look, you didn't pick up our child. You were late by so many minutes. The woman said indignantly, it was just a few minutes. It's about to rain. What if our child gets wet by the rain? The streets are also difficult to walk after it rains. But it hasn't rained yet. It's all your fault. You're at home all day with nothing to do at all. It's just a few minutes, but you couldn't even come earlier. What do you mean I have nothing to do? Apart from going to work, don't I have to do everything else? Ha, am I not tired of earning money? Why don't you give it a try? Try supporting an entire family. Why don't you try looking after the kids? There are so many other trifles too. Humph, I'm telling you, you won't be able to endure it for even a day. Hey, what trifles? Don't you have nothing to do after sending our child to the kindergarten? Humph, I can't explain it to you. The two of them argued loudly while going to fetch their child. Lin Che looked at their backs and thought to herself that perhaps the situation had not calmed down yet. Although she kept feeling as if she was completely useless, Gu Jingze always felt that she was great. He could never bear for her to do anything. He definitely would not reprimand her like this either. In comparison to other men, Gu Jingze was very different. Putting aside other things, other men seemed to feel that women had nothing to do all the time. But Gu Jingze had always felt that she would be tired if she did even a bit of anything. She shook her head helplessly. Ultimately, Gu Jingze treated her way too well. Lin Che smiled even wider as she thought about it. Just then, pea-sized droplets started raining down from the sky, hitting her face so hard that it started hurting. Lin Che hastily walked straight ahead. Her phone started ringing. She took a look and saw that it was Gu Jingze. She quickly answered the call. Lin Che, it's raining. Dongzi said that you went out alone for a stroll. Did you not bring an umbrella? Lin Che nodded. Yes, I didn't bring one. After a moment of silence, Gu Jingze said, where are you? I'll go and pick you up. Near Wanhong building. Alright, I'm coming over now. Lin Che stood there and waited. After some time, a Benz quietly drove towards her. Gu Jingze alighted from the car. Lin Che did not remember having this car at home. From the looks of it, it probably cost more than $1 million. It was probably not Gu Jingze's. Where did you get this car? She asked. Gu Jingze shut the car door. It's Chin Hao's. Oh. Alright then. Outsiders would probably feel envious that all of Gu Jingze's assistants drove cars like these that cost millions. However, after being by Gu Jingze's side for so many years, Chin Hao's net worth was quite high. Gu Jingze opened his umbrella and asked, are we going back now? Lin Che said, forget it. Since we're already out, let's take a walk. It's so rare that they're not following us around. Strolling in the rain was also a kind of mood. Gu Jingze smiled. He held the umbrella and walked straight ahead with his arm around her. Lin Che leaned into his embrace, feeling that his scent seemed to have become much stronger in the rain. When she glanced askance, she saw that all the rain was falling onto his shoulder. Because the umbrella was tilted towards her, she was not wet all. On the other hand, he was completely wet. The rain immediately became even heavier. She said, we should look for a place to hide from the rain. Chapter 1338 Unless you go next door to confess. The car was already quite far. They would probably get wet if they went back again. Lin Che saw an internet cafe at the side. It appeared very big. She said, let's go, let's go. Go inside. She pulled Gu Jingze inside. Gu Jingze raised his head and looked around. He saw that there were quite a few people here. The interior was also pretty exquisite, although it did not stand up to scrutiny. There was a bit of a smell here. It was a smell that only a place with many people would have. Lin Che took a look and went to handle the procedures with their identity cards. 2 people. Sure, are you topping up your card? No need, thank you. The cashier looked up and glanced at her. For a moment, he felt that she looked very familiar in those sunglasses. However, he did not notice anything else. He looked down and scanned their identity cards. Then, he handed the cards to the 2 of them. It was only when they left that he said, that woman earlier was so beautiful. She looked like a celebrity. Thereafter, when he looked at the person who appeared after scanning the identity cards. Lin Che. What? Was it real or not? The staff was immediately a little surprised. The 2 of them had asked for a private room. After they went in and sat down, Lin Che said, wow, not bad. This place is quite clean. Gu Jingze asked, you're not joking? He could clearly smell cigarettes. And she even said it was clean. Lin Che said, relax. You haven't seen the older internet cafes, right? Those are what you call terrible. The ones now are already quite clean. After sitting down, Lin Che smiled and suggested, why don't we play a game? Whoever loses will have to go to the opposite room to make a love confession. What do you think? A confession? Gu Jingze looked at her. You can just say that you want to go and make a confession. What did he mean? Was he saying that she would definitely lose? Lin Che raised her fist. Humph, there's no way you can play all games so well. Just you wait. The 2 of them looked at each other and smiled. Lin Che immediately turned on her computer and opened a game directly. This time, she was not playing the game she had produced. She was playing a small game, the dance machine. The manual kind of dance machine. Lin Che said, humph, humph. Give it a try. After going up, Lin Che started playing randomly. Lin Che had been particularly good at playing this when she was a child. Thus, this was the first game she chose. However, Gu Jingze glanced at it, sat down, and started playing the game while looking at the screen. Lin Che glanced askance at him. The speed of Gu Jingze's hands. What the hell, she could no longer even see his fingers clearly. Lin Che's eyes darted around and she hastily said, well, we're just giving it a try. I think this is too easy. Let's switch to another game. Gu Jingze looked at her and smiled tenderly. Sure. Lin Che immediately started browsing to look for another game. In no time, she found another small game. It's getting dark, close your eyes. Lin Che smiled mischievously. This game definitely did not test hand speed, right? She looked at Gu Jingze. Why are your hands so quick? Gu Jingze said, I learned how to play the piano for a few years when I was a child. These are nothing compared to the piano. Alright then. Lin Che thought to herself, I chose a game that does not require hand speed. Let's see what you do. After opening the game, she clicked it directly. She did not tell Gu Jingze the rules either and immediately said, anyway, the loser has to go and confess. Alright, no need to look anymore. We can each play on our own. It's getting dark, close your eyes, was none other than the game, The Werewolves of Miller's Hollow, which many people were playing these days. Back then, many people played this game too. Now, there were still a few loyal players who played it to pass time. After some time, the players started talking to each other. There were captains, ordinary townsfolk, and thieves. Of course, there were players like Gu Jingze, who did not say a word after going in. Players like him who did not speak were usually treated as policemen or murderers. After some time, during the first round, someone said bluntly, there's a player who doesn't speak. I think he's probably the murderer. Vote him. Of course, everyone else responded. They had nothing to lose even if they voted him out. It was inconsequential for one or two people to die at the start. Seeing that she herself was ordinary townsfolk who could not see anything and did not know what his role was either, Lin Che thought that she would win as long as he was voted out. Thus, she immediately went along with them. Yes, vote him, vote him. However, when it was actually time to vote, she realized that no one voted him. Soon, it was time for the second round. This time, someone again suggested that everyone vote him out. Initially, she thought that he would remain silent. But she did not expect Gu Jingze to type a series of words all of a sudden. C, F, and G are murderers. K, V, and T are policemen. The rest are ordinary townsfolk. All right. Everyone was a little stunned. Lin Che sensed that something was off and immediately turned her head around. Only to see the man beside her calmly holding his chin between his fingers. His confident manner rendered her speechless. How irritating. He had already identified everyone. In that case, there was no fun in continuing to play. She immediately pouted. I'm not playing anymore. Humph, I can't beat you in anything. Gu Jingze smiled, turned his head, and pinched her cheek. Do you want to beat me so badly? Lin Che placed her chin on her hands and looked at him. No, I'm just wondering why I suffer so many setbacks. Gu Jingze said, then tell me. What would make you not feel defeated? Lin Che's eyes darted around. Then, go to the opposite room and confess. Gu Jingze asked, so you just want to see me get humiliated, right? Lin Che smiled brightly. Of course not, of course not. Gu Jingze glanced at her and stood up. All right. Lin Che saw that he was actually going. She immediately trailed after him happily, wanting to know how he was going to confess. Gu Jingze was a person who usually did not even know how to crack jokes. How could he know how to play a game like this? Gu Jingze walked over and knocked on the door. The door opened. It seemed that the people inside were also a couple. For private rooms like these, most of them were occupied by couples who went in together to play. It was more private and they could do many intimate things inside. The people inside looked at Gu Jingze and paused for a moment. However, Gu Jingze said, hello. Sorry for the slight disturbance. The two people had already forgotten how to speak when they saw Gu Jingze's handsome appearance. What? The girl wondered if he was here to sell products seeing as he was so handsome. What a handsome salesperson. No matter what he promoted, she genuinely wanted to buy it. However, just then, Gu Jingze smiled and said, my wife told me to come over here and confess. She won't let me go home if I don't confess. My apologies, I have no choice but to confess briefly. This lady here, you're very beautiful. You must have many admirers. The girl froze and her face immediately turned red. Wow, when he confessed to her like this and called her beautiful. Her heart even started pounding. However, when she thought back on it, what did he mean when he said his wife had told him to do it? He had said it so seriously. So he had actually been joking with his wife. Seeing this, Lin Che was at an instant loss for words and quickly rushed over. I'm sorry. We were just joking around. When the girl inside saw her, she immediately shouted, wow, Lin Che. Chapter 1339. It's fine even if they know. Lin Che had momentarily forgotten that she had come in without wearing sunglasses. She had immediately been recognized, causing her to blank out. Thereafter, thinking that she had already been recognized, she simply smiled confidently and said, oh, nice to meet you. Wow, it really is Lin Che. The girl immediately sprang to her feet excitedly. She hastily looked at Lin Che. Forgetting about everything else for a moment, she first took out her phone and asked if they could take a photograph together. Sure, of course, we can take a photo together. At the side, Gu Jingze had been relegated to the background. He smiled faintly and stuck his hands in his pockets as he watched Lin Che interact with her fan here. The man beside him was not that interested in celebrities. But he immediately noticed this man. He tugged at his girlfriend and asked, Lin Che is married. Only then did the girl remember this. She also raised her head immediately. Married. She only registered the situation when she saw Lin Che and Gu Jingze. You guys are married? Lin Che raised her head and looked at Gu Jingze at the side. They had kept their marriage a secret for a very long time because they did not want to have so much trouble. But they did not want to conceal it either if they were seen together. Yes, Lin Che immediately admitted it openly. The girl was even more surprised. She covered her mouth. No way, there was no news about it outside. Yes, we never specially announced it. Lin Che smiled. Wow, I can't believe I discovered such a huge piece of gossip. Good lord. No, Lin Che, I won't tell the public about this. Are you guys secretly married and don't want people to know? Lin Che smiled and hooked her arm around Gu Jingze's. When the two of them leaned against each other, they really made others feel that they were indeed very suitable for each other. They were indeed meant to be a married couple. When she looked up and gazed at Gu Jingze, even the smile in her eyes was a blissful one. That's not it either, but we won't say it if no one asks. Our marriage has nothing to do with my work too. Really, in that case, can I tell other people? It doesn't matter, as long as you're not selling it to the newspaper outlets. Of course not, I'm just going to tell my friends. Lin Che smiled. Well then, you guys take your time. We'll leave first, we won't disturb you anymore. Sure, you guys go ahead. The girl walked past them while continuing to say, so handsome. Lin Che's husband is so handsome. Gu Jingze also turned his head to look. Oh, he was now Lin Che's husband. He had often heard people call her Madame Gu. Now that he was hearing people call him Lin Che's husband, it felt very different. The two of them strolled back once they were done having fun. Just then, Yu Minmin sent her a document, saying that it was a script based on a new novel. Lin Che opened the document and took a look, only to see that it was a pretty impressive novel. She had even heard of it before. She asked Yu Minmin on WeChat, are we going to take this? Yu Minmin said, take a look first. I don't think it's bad. We can give it a try. It was a fantasy series. This genre of television series was more popular at the moment. Furthermore, this fantasy series was different from others. It was not the kind with deities and swordsmen. Instead, it required more thinking and it was more about war. As she started browsing through it, Gu Jingze asked, why? You're going to take on another script? Yes. Let me see it. Lin Che handed it over to him. Gu Jingze said, it looks pretty good. Lin Che asked, you're saying it's good after merely seeing the name? Immortal Concealment. Judging from the name alone, it's not that brainless. Tick. But Gu Jingze immediately saw the introductory paragraph above as well. Because this type of script would always briefly introduce some of its unique characteristics. Thus, the script had already mentioned at the start that there were going to be 3 bed scenes inside. Gu Jingze's eyes darkened. Although it's not brainless, it's in poor taste. Don't take it. After saying this, Gu Jingze immediately wanted to delete it. What? Seeing that he had actually pressed the delete button, Lin Che got anxious. What was wrong? Why was he going to delete it? I haven't looked at it yet. There's nothing much to look at. Let's go. Gu Jingze pulled her to her feet and went off. Lin Che felt indescribably speechless. The rain had already stopped. The wet air felt very comfortable. They forgot what they were busy with for the moment and the two of them walked home. However, the next day, the moment she reached the company, Yu Minmin asked, "How did you find that script?" "I got a male actor who's been very popular recently to appear opposite you. It will definitely get popular. This plot is very unique. You can film a television series and a movie together. You will definitely get a double win." Lin Che said, "Ah, is that so? It's that amazing. Of course, you may even have a shot at getting an award." But what? But Gu Jingze deleted it. He said it was vulgar. Yu Minmin said gloomily, "No way. How is it vulgar? It's such a nice, complex read. There are conspiracies wrapped up in conspiracies and climax after climax. It has an extraordinarily fantastic plot. It's not draggy at all." It was truly rare for Yu Minmin to speak so highly of a piece of work. For a moment, Lin Che felt a little reluctant to let it slip by. "In that case, send me another copy to read." Sure. You must consider it carefully after going back." "Absolutely." Just then, some people hastily walked in from outside and nearly bumped into the two of them. The moment they looked up to see Yu Minmin and Lin Che, they frantically said, Sorry. Sister Yu, Sister Che." Yu Minmin asked, "Why are you in such a panic? What are you going to do if you bump into someone running around the company?" The people who had come had expressions of disbelief on their faces. "Don't even bring it up. That newbie, Cheng Yuantu's assistant, I don't know what's wrong with her. We received news from their end saying that Cheng Yuantu is throwing his weight around." "Seriously? Wasn't the new assistant none other than Wu Lulian?" Lin Che frowned. "What's going on?" On the other side, Wu Lulian said bluntly, "We're celebrities whom you guys invited. But we only get this kind of treatment. I can't believe it." Wu Lulian had been an assistant for a few days. An assistant's job was very varied. She mainly had to listen to the manager's instructions, handle the celebrity's daily trifles, and look after the celebrity's work and some details concerning his daily life. Cheng Yuantu had only just debuted. Although he had accomplished a fair bit, it was his first time having an assistant. In the past, his manager had always taken care of him directly. Thus, he did not have much an impression of what assistants did. He merely instructed her to help order food and remind him about his schedule. But he did not expect that Wu Lulian's goal was not actually to be a proper assistant. What she wanted was to be a celebrity. Therefore, after going on set, she was particularly interested in those big-shot celebrities and directors. Today, they had simply arranged for Cheng Yuantu to stay in another hotel, a hotel different from the one the rest of the production crew was staying in because that hotel was already full. She immediately disagreed with the temporary arrangement for him to put up with it for one night. She still wanted to have more contact with those people, but why had they isolated her now? What did they mean by this? She was very unhappy and immediately started throwing her weight around. Seeing this, they explained to her, "Just stay here for 2 days. Once the suite there is empty, we'll let you guys have it. Just bear with it for a bit. We should all empathize with each other." "Ha, don't try to deceive me. Even if you let us stay here, you won't let us go to the hotel over there tomorrow. What did we do to offend you that you must isolate us? Don't play these kinds of tricks in front of me. No way, we won't stay here." Chapter 1340 Must Go Apologize. Wu Lulian was very angry. They were obviously celebrities too. Why were they assigned elsewhere? Actually, after being an assistant for a few days, she really felt that these celebrities were probably not that famous. How else could they be so humble? They were not like Lin Che at all. Wherever she went, everyone would be respectful towards her. She was really not happy. She said to Cheng Yuantu, "Just look at yourself. You are a celebrity too. Why don't you stand up for yourself? You don't have to succumb to scrutiny by others at all." Cheng Yuantu said, "One can only exist if one remains humble and down to earth. The bigger the star, the more down to earth they are." Wu Lulian would never believe that. He was simply not famous enough. "Why isn't it the case for Lin Che?" Wu Lulian asked. Don't you know how down-to-earth Sister Che is outside? But her status now is already enough, so no matter how humble she wants to be, people will always hold her in high regard and fear her. You can't feel it, but when have you ever seen Sister Che be demanding? No, she's simply not like this. Don't think that I don't know her. Wu Lulian felt that this celebrity was much more foolish than she thought. Thus, she thought that if he was not going to fight for himself, she would fight for him. He was a celebrity, after all. Why did he have to be subject to scorn? Thus, she immediately argued with the crew. The crew members looked at Wu Lulian and only felt speechless. You'll have to figure this out on your own. I can't really help you more. There really isn't room over there. I'm telling the director. Hey, the director is not in charge of every single thing. Are you really going to look for him over a minor issue like this? The crew member exclaimed speechlessly. Helpless, they sent someone to Lin Che's studio. They told Lin Che's studio that the assistant was too demanding and they could not afford to keep her. Cheng Yuantu was still unaware of all these. Meanwhile, Lin Che's side already received this news. Yu Minmin called Lin Che. This Wu Lulian is really too much. She offended the crew just like this and it has only been a few days. Lin Che said, she will ruin Cheng Yuantu's future. If his reputation turns bad in the circle, he would be turned away easily. Yes. Never mind, I'll go take a look. You're going over personally? Yu Minmin asked. Lin Che said, I'm the one who sent her there. If I don't go over, I'd be harming Cheng Yuantu. Okay, I'm going over. Okay. Half an hour later, Lin Che arrived on set. The crew was still discussing. There were indeed plenty of top-quality celebrities in the circle. Personal encounters were always talked about. Just then, someone outside said, Lin Che is here. Lin Che came. They did inform Lin Che's studio about the incident, but they never expected Lin Che to move for this. The group quickly went out to see what was going on. Lin Che arrived and went to look for Wu Lulian. Upon hearing about Lin Che's arrival, Wu Lulian thought that she was here to speak up for Cheng Yuantu. She quickly said, I just know it. Our studio would never let you guys off so easily. The nerve of you guys to bully us like this. But the moment she went out, she saw Lin Che's stern face looking right at herself. You have to come with me and apologize to the crew. Wu Lulian froze and thought that she heard it wrong. What? Lin Che said directly, let's go. Your attitude is bad and you have hindered the crew's daily operations. Come apologize with me. Wu Lulian then realized that she was not mistaken. But what was the meaning of this? No way. Sis, do you know how they've been treating us and how they've been bullying us? Aren't you making us disgraced? You're telling me to go and apologize to them. I'm not going. Lin Che lowered her voice. Her icy stern face instantly made Wu Lulian fearful. But they were relatives. She probably wouldn't do that to her. Although Lin Che was really formidable and made it seem effortless to deal with troublemakers, she probably wouldn't actually do that to her. Wu Lulian was rather stubborn as she looked at Lin Che. Sister Che. Come on. Lin Che did not say anything else as she looked at her. Wu Lulian quickly followed her. Back at the crew. They quickly welcomed her as she came in. Sister Che, what brings you here? You didn't even inform us. It's a mess here. Lin Che smiled at them. Sorry for taking your time. I heard one of our studio's members got into an issue. I've brought her to apologize. Everyone looked at Lin Che in surprise. They heard that Lin Che's studio was reliable, but they did not expect Lin Che to personally come here and apologize when they had a problem with the assistant now. No wonder she had such a good reputation. Behind, Wu Lulian looked on, extremely unhappy. Unwillingness was written all over her face. Sorry. The group looked at her and knew that she was not sincere. But since Lin Che already came down personally, they could not hold a grudge either. They secretly thought that this rat almost ruined the reputation of Lin Che's studio. Thankfully, Lin Che was sincere and also had high emotional intelligence. Everyone said, it's okay, it's okay. She's new and still doesn't know things. She'll learn the ropes and get better. After that, Lin Che took Wu Lulian and left. Outside, she then said to Wu Lulian, don't go back to the crew for now. It'll be better if you head home and reflect on yourself. Wu Lulian said, sis, please. I'll be good, really. It won't happen again. To leave the crew. It was not easy for her to finally get here. She hadn't gotten what she wanted. Lin Che replied, "What else do you suggest? Look at yourself. You don't know anything. This won't do. I'll learn slowly. Really, I won't pick fights with others anymore. I know it's my fault." Lin Che narrowed her eyes and looked at her. "If you really know it, then go back and reflect. If your attitude is acceptable, you may come back." Wu Lulian still wanted to speak. "This will be the last straw. Any more mistakes will result in punishment," Lin Che added. Wu Lulian heard this and could only agree with gritted teeth. But she went home. She immediately went into Su Fen's arms and complained. "This Lin Che doesn't think for our family at all. She insisted that I came home to reflect. It's so embarrassing. How could she do this? I did not do anything wrong at all. Why do I have to reflect? All right, tell me what exactly happened." Wu Lulian told her everything. Su Fen asked, "What can you do about it?" Even Lin Che went to apologize. "It seems pretty serious. It also seems like it's not easy to be a celebrity. You should think twice." "Impossible. Lin Che is being a coward. You didn't see how bossy other celebrities are." Su Fen could not persuade her. She could only comfort her. "They are just not influential enough." Wu Lulian was determined. When she went back, she would work even harder. She had to climb up the ranks, so that she would never have to be dissed again.